All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we're going to talk about a person who um, is known throughout the world. His name struck fear in the hearts of people, and he is known to have conquered like half the known world at that time. Okay, and this guy uh, is again one of those people who did horrible things, but my God, is it's kind of incredible what he did. So we're gonna talk about this guy. Let's go to the objectives. And that person is Genghis Khan. We're gonna analyze how he came to power. Then we're gonna examine how Genghis Khan changed the world, both literally, he literally changed the world, and figuratively. How did he change the world figuratively? And we're going to create an argument on which way of death seems more logical. Now, I'm sure you're like thinking, well, what do you mean? Did he die a certain way? We're going to get to that. Okay, we're going to get to that. So just hold on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the warm up. So here's your picture. The question asks you, does this look like these guys are going away from danger, like leaving danger? Or does it look like they're the ones who are the danger? They're the ones who bring in the danger to someone else. So look at the foreground, the background, left to right, and all that good stuff. And based off your analysis, what do you think? And back that up. Don't forget the why. Why do you believe if you say that they're running away from danger? Why do you believe that? If you say that they are the ones who are giving danger, they're on the way to hurt somebody, explain why you believe that. Okay? So pause the video. Okay, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. Now, here's the thing: the Mongolians were basically separated clans. Okay, they weren't a united country. There were basically 17 large clans and 18 smaller clans. Now, there was a guy who was in charge of a small clan named Yesigal. And Yesigal had a son named Temujin. Temujin, that name literally means blacksmith. Okay. Now, what happened was there's this other group called the Tartars. They poisoned his father and basically absorbed that small clan into theirs. But when it came to Temujin's family, they basically rejected him. Like, no, 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 no. We're taking your people, taking your guys' group, you know, we're taking over that. But we're gonna kick you out because if you join the group, then other people are gonna be like, oh well, they're the leader, you know, they're the leader of our group. And they're like, no, no, we want to be one group with them, and we're gonna kick you out. Now, Temujin, with his, mother and some of that, they were captured. He was enslaved, you know, and then he escaped. Now, once he escaped, he knew, I'm getting revenge. I'm getting revenge. And he teamed up with this group called the Jin. Okay. They allied together. He basically told them, hey, you hate the Tartars. I hate the Tartars. You know what they did to my family? And this is what I had to go through in my life. So I want revenge. So the Jin were like, okay, this kid sounds like he means it and he wants to uh, attack them. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't wipe out the Tartars, but they did give them a good enough shot to the gut type of thing. Okay. Now, Temujin was basically like, you know what? Why are we all separated? Why are we all separated from one another when we should be united? A stick by itself breaks easily, but you get 35 sticks together and you try to break it, it's a lot tougher. So in 1200, he was able to unite all the clans. All right. And then when it became time to pick a leader, of course, everyone's like, well, hey, Temujin, he's the one who got everyone together. So, yeah, why not? So he became the first great Khan of the Mongol Empire. Now, Khan means prince or ruler in the Mongolian language. Okay, so when they gave him a new title, Genghis Khan, which means ultimate ruler or universal ruler. Basically, it's kind of loose in translation. Okay, so that's what his name was, and that's how the world knows him by Genghis Khan. But again, his birth name was Temujin. Now, thing is, he basically promised the Mongolians, "Hey, look it, guys, we're gonna be rich." He's telling this to the people and the soldiers. We're gonna be rich. We're gonna conquer territory. We're gonna conquer land, and we will be very wealthy. Okay. Now, another interesting thing about Genghis Khan is when he took over territories, he didn't kill soldiers. Yeah, they fought, some people died, but he wouldn't be like, "Oh, well, we won. All the soldiers that are left, wipe them out." No, he'd be like, "You know what? You fought very well. You actually even killed some of my best men. How would you like to join us?" Now, some guys are like, "Nah, I ain't gonna join you guys." Basically, hey, well, fine then. We'll kill you, or you can kill yourself. But there were some guys who said, "Yeah, you know what? I like what you guys do. You guys are well rounded. You guys, I have no family. I have no leaders." They had a term back then called the Ronin. You know, they have no master. They're just fighters, and they serve nobody. They have nobody to serve. Well, it's like, well, fine. I'll be with you guys. Now, Genghis Khan did a lot of bad things, which we will talk about. But let's talk about the good things. What kind of stuff did he do? Okay. Number one, he did not basically dictate religion. He said, if whatever religion you are, fine. He tolerated all religions. So there were people in his empire who were Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Taoist. Hey, worship how you want to worship. Okay. He did not mind. Some places are like, no, we are Christian, we are Catholic, we are Muslim. He's like, whatever. Pray to whatever God you want to. Okay, so that's pretty cool. The next thing was he is responsible for one of the first international postal services. Now remember, this is before cars, before internet, things like that. And yet they were able to get letters from one side of Asia to the other side in about a day, maybe 2 days, you know. So how would that work? They basically had strategic post office around, and they would have guys riding horses with this mail. And then they get to the post office and they'd be like, "Okay, hey, where are you going?" "I'm going north to this one town." "Okay, we got some letters heading that way. So here you go. Do you want to rest? Do you need a new horse?" "No, no, no, I can keep going. I can keep going, but I do need a new horse. Mine's tired." "All right, we got one fed and they're all watered up and ready to go." So fine, get in the horse. Go to the next place. "All right, same thing. Hey, where are you heading?" "I'm going north to this other town." "All right, we have some letters going there. Do you need to rest? Do you need some water? You know, what about your horse?" And that's what they did. So some riders, they could go as far as they could, but sometimes they're like, "You know what? I'm tired. I can't go any further." "Hey, no problem. We're gonna send somebody else." So they had riders and they had horses on standby at all the posts, watered, fed. They were good to go. Now, the other really big thing that really, really helped his empire get rich was the trade routes. Now, at first, some bandits, would try to rob the merchants and things like that. But as soon as word got out that, hey, these bandits are doing this and this and that, they're on this route, they're in this area, Genghis Khan basically went over and wiped them out. So it got to the point where it's like, you'd be, I hate to say the word, but you'd be stupid to try to rob one of those merchant caravans in Genghis Khan's territory, in his empire. You just would be. The other thing is, when he conquered areas, no matter if it was a city, kingdom, or whatever, even a little town, he basically would tell them, "Hi, how you guys doing? Hi, Genghis Khan right here. Hey, listen, me and my group, we're conquering this area. All right, but we're just letting you know that we're here. We are a mighty army, as you can see. We've conquered a lot of places. So if you want to surrender, now's the time. Okay. Now, if you surrender, you're all going to be fine. You can live your life the way you have been before. The only difference is this territory will be mine. That's basically it. Okay. So what do you guys say? He gave him a chance to surrender, you know? So that was pretty cool. The other thing that a lot of ladies would probably like right now is that he gave them rights and benefits. Okay. When at a time, a lot of women were just seen as, you are going to have kids, you're going to stay in the house, you're going to cook and clean, and women were seen as less than men. In this case, Genghis is like, no, women should have rights and benefits. In some places in Europe, when a woman got her father died and she got land, as soon as she got married, that land transferred to the husband, and he could divorce her and keep the land. But in Genghis Khan's territory, no. If a woman was given land by her father, the the father died, and some guy married her just for the land, then guess what? He's not going to get it. Okay. The last one is pretty interesting. A lot of people tend to think hey, if you are in the military for a long time, you should be ranking up, things like that. If you showed loyalty, hey, I've been with you since the beginning, I should have this ranking because I've been with you. And in Genghis Khan's army, no, it's based off how well have you been fighting. Where were you in the battlefield? Were you in the back with your sword, just and your arrow standing back there, making sure like, okay, I'm safe, I'm safe, or were you in the middle with Genghis Khan, just fighting and blood all over you, things like that. So the better you fought, the more you killed, the higher your ranking. And that's the kind of people Genghis Khan wanted around him. Fighters, people who knew how to fight, who were brave, and he could that's what they want to do. Get in there and fight. Okay, he wanted those people around him. All right, so now let's talk about the bad things. Remember I told you that he would give towns and kingdoms a chance to surrender, right? Well, sometimes people would say, no, we're not going to surrender. A lot of times the kings and queens and stuff like that would say, no, we're not going to surrender to you. If that happened, Genghis Khan wiped them out. Man, women, children, whatever. Wiped them out. Okay, the only way your town was going to survive is if you surrendered. That's the only way. Now somebody in class said, well, what if you were like a peasant and your king said, no, we're not going to surrender. And then the people were like, no, no, we want to surrender. We want to surrender. No, you were going to die because your king represents you and your kingdom. So yeah, you got wiped out. I know it sucks, but hey, that's the way it was. Okay. The other thing was, if let's say you surrendered and he's told you, hey, I need your help, this and that, and you didn't send help, you are going to get into a lot of trouble. And that's exactly what happened to this one group. Um, I'm going to kill this name. Tengats of Ziza. Ziza. Zizia. Something like that. Okay, just let's move on. All right. He basically told him, I'm in a fight. Hey, guys, I need some soldiers. They never sent soldiers. So he won the battle, and then he makes his way to that town. He's like, "Hey, how you guys doing?" So, do you guys get my message saying I needed soldiers? I needed help. Yeah, yeah. So why'd you guys send any? Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, okay, I get you, I get you. And he wiped them out. Now, when he said he needs food, water, whatever, soldiers, you better give it to him. Okay, it was that pretty intense. Um, Now he did kill a lot of people, especially at that time. Now you see the number 40 million. Some people think, well, that's not that much. Yeah, because we have like 8 billion people on the earth right now. But back then, 40 million people was about 11% of the world's population. So if you think about it, out of every 100 people, 11 of them died by his hand. In China, he killed tens of millions. In the country of Iran, he killed three-quarters of the people there in a whole country. So imagine if you're, you know, like 8 people in whatever room you're in right now, classroom or at home or whatever. Imagine only 2 people surviving in that whole group. Okay. If there's just 4 people, only one of you guys surviving. That's how many people he killed in that country. Now, I told you guys, he did change the world literally. How did he do that? He killed so many people, he actually made the earth cooler by several degrees. We're talking 3, 4 degrees. Now, that might not sound like much, but you have to think, this is not just a tiny area that the temperature changed. This is the entire world that the temperature changed because he killed so many people that they're not producing carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide and stuff like that. They're, you know, less people breathing. So, yeah, he actually cooled the earth. That's just crazy. So, here's a map of a little area of where he conquered and things like that. Okay. Just showed this in class real quick. All right. So, let's get to his death. The only thing historians agree on is that he died in 1227 AD. That's it. That's basically it, guys. Everything else on how he died and stuff like that, historians cannot agree on because there's so many different myths and legends and so-called facts about how Genghis Khan died. Excuse me. So one of the more popular ones for years was that he died from his injuries when he fell off his horse. And remember, just like you saw in that warm-up pictures, there's a lot of people right behind him. So if he fell, he probably got trampled um, by the horses and stuff like that. But here's the thing: this is why I personally don't believe it. Genghis Khan and the Mongolians riding a horse was like the number one thing. You had to be able to do that. Okay, somebody would get in trouble worse for stealing a horse than like murdering somebody. You just did not steal someone's horse. Okay, so that's why it's like kind of like that doesn't really make too much sense to me personally. The other thing was malaria. Hey, you drinking dirty water. There's things in there. There's feces. There's animal pee and things like that. Dead animals have died in the water. So yeah, you can drink it. You get sick. Okay. This other one was really interesting. This is something I read some years ago. That Genghis Khan had a rare disease where he would just bleed from his nose. Some people have that. It could be like the weather's getting a little bit hot and all of a sudden they start bleeding and stuff like that for no reason. So the thing was, the story goes that he was celebrating a victory in battle. He was drinking and he was laying on kind of like a beanbag type of, body pillow type of thing. And what ended up happening was he fell asleep, but his head was back like this, you know. And when his nose started bleeding, he couldn't move, like to stop the blood from going down his throat, and he eventually drowned in his own blood. To me, that was interesting. That was very creative. I have never heard of that. It'd be interesting. The other one that a lot of people know too is he got shot in the knee with an arrow, and he got like a disease and gangrene type of thing, and then he died that way. So which one is the real way? We don't know until we find his body. Now, if you notice, I said until we find his body. Okay. Now, why do I say it that way? Because the thing is, we don't know where he's buried. We have no idea where his body is. There was a funeral procession that took his body. These guys were in charge of burying his body somewhere, but they were walking and or not walking with the horses and stuff. And anyone who saw them with the body, those people were killed. You know, so once they finally did bury him, this is another thing too. What is agreed on that these guys got a bunch of horses and kind of went through the area so that it looked just like horses, just wild horses were going through here. You know, so it doesn't look like, hey, there's something buried here. It doesn't look like that at all. You know, so those guys took the secret to death, and again, we don't know where his body is. Who knows? Another 50 years, 100 years, somebody might be digging in their backyard, find a tomb, and there it is. It's the body of Genghis Khan. Who knows? All right, so here are your two questions for this assignment. Number one, do you think it's wise to accept your former enemies as soldiers? These guys you fought against, you beat them. Would you accept them as your soldiers? Why or why not? You know, tell me why. Now, the second one says, why do you think Genghis Khan didn't want anyone to know where he was buried? A lot of people, the pharaohs, and kings, they want their tomb to be seen and things like that. Why do you think Genghis Khan said, no, no, I want where I'm buried, I want it to be secret? Why would he do that? Why do you think? Okay. So once you've answered these two questions, you're done with this lesson. All right, guys. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Um, okay. I will see you in class. All right. So you guys, you take care and you be safe. All right.